What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, man, he was found guilty. Derek Chauvin, whatever that dude's last name is. The dude that the cop that killed George Floyd, he was found guilty today. And honestly, that was something that we needed. That was something that we needed. I don't know how many years they say he was going to get. I don't think they determined that yet, but most likely they will soon. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot, because I'm like, if they give this man maybe a few years, I feel like people they're going to write. It has to be he got to be in there for a long time, life. Because my thing is that for those that so many black people have been wrongfully killed by cops, and you don't remember the George Floyd situation. So George Floyd was the man where the cop had put his knee on his neck for 8 minutes or something like that, and wasn't letting up off of him. He pretty much had his knee on his neck up until, not even up, even after he had died. They showed in the court, but they showed a video where you can see when he went unconscious. And even afterwards, still, man wasn't moving. I think they said, blood was coming from his mouth and nose. And, yeah, he wasn't letting up off of him. And I think they say even it was, a minute, or it was, a certain amount of time after paramedics had arrived, he still had his knee on his neck. And that's something where I'm like, everybody that's argued with me over that situation has not been black. So I'm like, with people, when they try to, argue with me over what's going on, with that, overall this Derek guy, George Floyd, and they're trying to make it seem like, oh, George Floyd, he was in the wrong, he did this, if he had just complied, if he had just, it's stuff like that where I'm like, I'm not hearing it. At the end of the day, somebody wrongfully died. Did he really need to die? My thing is that if you see the situation, if you see the scenario, George Floyd, that's just one man. Police officers, how many times have you ever heard in a situation where a police officer was trying to de-escalate a situation and they was by themselves? If that's the case, then it's okay, if man's by himself, then it's okay, well, he ain't fit to be a cop. He's really not fit to be a cop due to the fact that there was multiple police officers there. So at the end of the day, you didn't even really need to do that. And then they were also saying how George Floyd's dude was pleading for his life. The man said that he couldn't be in no squad car, so it's okay, just let the man breathe for a second, catch his breath, and then take him to jail for what he did. But that whole situation was just wrong. I'm saying, it shouldn't have overall went down like that. So everybody arguing over the fact, oh, well, he should have, it's just dumb when they try to argue with me, or they say some dumb stuff oh, if you just comply with cops, you don't have to worry about cops shooting. Because somebody had said that to me not too long ago, and I took a screenshot of it, and I posted on Instagram, because I was like, see, this is the dumb stuff that people send in to me, and then they think that I'm supposed to, overall reason with them, or agree with them. I'm never gonna agree with you guys, because I'm for one, you guys aren't black, so you're not understanding where I'm coming from out of all of this. Maybe if you guys was black and y'all was understanding where I was coming from out of all of this, then I'm okay, then we got a mutual understandings, and there shouldn't even be no argument. And so the person, they go on to say, we would care if everybody else stopped resisting arrest, keep resisting the police, we're not caring, we won't feel sorry for you either. And it's do you honestly think that that's going to be oh, well, all right, you have a point there, you don't have a point there. You just pretty much said, hey, I'm racist, and I agree with the cops are doing to black people. That's all I got from that. If there's something else that you was trying to say, then say that. I just don't like when people, they play that whole game oh, well, I'm saying this, but I want you to hear this. No, just be blunt. Just say what's on your mind. Say what you need to say. But all of these oh, let's send him side messages, let's send him this, let's send him... No, I'm not hearing that. Say what you have on your mind. Say how you feel about this situation. Do you think what happened to George Floyd was, okay? Because if you think that that's okay, I'm okay, the day that you have a friend, regardless of the skin color or whatever, the day that they're wrongfully killed, just think, you thought that is okay. So for whatever reason, that person killed somebody that you cared for, it's okay. Because you said it's okay. Doesn't matter the situation. Doesn't matter the skin tone, skin color, all of that. No, you said it's okay. So overall, because at the end of the day, that's why this man was found guilty. That's why he's gonna be spending some time in prison. Because it is wrong what he did, and not too many people understand that. And that's why everybody that's why I was all like, bro, if they don't find this man guilty, I'm telling y'all right now, I said that while I was live streaming, because they was like, the verdict is in, and I said while I was streaming, I was just like, hey, if this man is found not guilty, I want y'all to all be careful, okay? Like, be careful, because I'm telling you, I remember last year when all of this stuff was going down, and I remember how all the, rioting and protesting was going on. I remember I was just going to Target. I think I was just going to Target. I can't remember why, but I remember I was going to Target for some reason. They were closing the place up early, and it was like, bro, it was probably like early in the morning or something. It wasn't even like that late in the afternoon, but they said that they were preparing for the riots. So there's all like, they knew that stuff, I guess they said some people came through the night before and was going crazy. And even like now, it's like people, they still like, still like kind of protesting. Well, I mean, they're protesting for another reason now, but I'm like, if you guys, my thing is like, if y'all don't want this, protesting and rioting and looting and all of it, like the looting, yes, I will have to agree on that. Like, y'all are just doing that for yourselves. Like last year when they were looting Nordstrom's and all these other like clothing stores, because still in Seattle, there's this like popular like just, shopping area where they got Nordstrom's, they got like some other clothing stores up the street, they got all these different places. And all of those places was like looted, people was just going crazy with all of that. Then they were trying to loot this like Rolex store, like kind of like further up the street. It was crazy. And I will have to agree on that. Like that ain't got nothing to do with what happened with George Floyd. Like you're doing that for your own benefit. Like at the end of the day, protesting, I'm fine with that. I am 100% fine with that. Crowd the streets, do what you got to do so people can can understand the message that we're trying to like send out to everybody. We're not doing this just because we feel like doing this. No, we're doing this because it's like for a cause, for a reason. There's black people getting wrongfully killed left and right, and then people are thinking that that's okay. It's not. It's not okay. Like, I don't care what the man could have done, because my thing is, like, and they talk about this all the time, where somebody will go around, shoot up, like, a school, shoot up a movie theater, shoot up a mall, shoot up a, whatever. They're just, overall, it'd be some, like, crazy person that then just got like some AR-15, then shot up the area where they decide to shoot at, perfectly fine, nothing happens to him. Ends up being, there's the one situation last year where it was the guy, it wasn't a mass shooting, but it was the one dude during it was that teenager during the riots. That's why I'm like, that's why we do what we're doing. That's why we're protesting. That's why we're rioting, because it's stuff like this where it's like, it doesn't make any sense. But there is a situation where that teenager, he shot and killed them 2 protesters, and was just, he was walking down the street, had his hands all in the air. They didn't catch him until like the next day or a couple of days later, until after the video went viral and all that other extra crap. Like, they didn't catch him until later. And here it was like with George Floyd, it's like, man died within 8 minutes. And it was like all for what was that, counterfeit $20 bill or something like that. And here it is, this man got this teenager, he shot and killed 2 people, and he got a GoFundMe thing started for him, and raised on top of that, raised over $600,000. And you think people at the end of the day are gonna see that and think that that's okay? No, it's not okay. I don't care how old that kid was. He wrongfully went out and shot and killed 2 people. 2 people that wasn't even doing anything to him. All of that stuff was all started by him. Then when people started standing up to him, then he gonna go. My thing was that he traveled. He was in the comfort of his own home. He traveled from one location to another location. Shot, killed 2 people. And I think there's like, he shot another person. He didn't kill him, but he shot him. So all in total, shot 3 people, killed 2 of them, and he got $600,000 for it. And here it was, George Floyd, he was just out here just trying to pay. I think they said pay for some cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. And this man lost his life behind it. And then the crazy thing about it, I don't know whatever happened to that teenager, but with this situation with the cop, it's like, it wasn't even determined like right away that, you know, like, I mean, I don't know, I guess because of like COVID and all that stuff, it slowed down things. But with me, I'm like, this man should have been found guilty on like first degree murder and all this other crap. Because if it had been the other way around, yeah, George Floyd, they most likely, yeah, somebody most likely would have pulled out a gun and shot him. If one of those other cops, like, yeah, if it had been the other way around, where Derek, that Chauvin, whatever that dude's name is, would was like laid down on the ground with a knee in his neck, yeah, one of those other cops would have definitely pulled out a gun. They probably would have shot into Floyd a bunch of times. That probably would have been the like worst, like, or you know, the craziest overkill in like just in gun history and stuff. They would have did whatever it took to emptied every, like, probably would have reloaded, shot at him some more, even though he was like laid down on the ground dead. Like after one bullet, you know, depending on where you shoot, gone. But they would have went into him. They would have went crazy into him if it had been the other way around. Like that type of stuff, it's like you have to understand, like, you know, it's just, it ain't right. It's not normal. And then here it is. It was that one just recently. The kid wasn't black. I think he was Hispanic, but still, you know, it's just, I just think at the end of the day, it's just anybody of color. It's like, you know, we just get the worst of the worst treatment when it comes to just, you know, living. Like, it doesn't matter where we're at, doesn't matter what we do. It's like we could just be out here minding our own business, and then we just get the worst of the worst treatment just simply because of the color of our skin. And then you think we're supposed to be okay with that? No. That's why it's like, for what, how many years now we've been fighting for equality? It's like we've had to fight for equality for the longest. It's like women have had to fight for equality for the longest, and it's like now it's people of color in their turn. It's like I don't understand why it's like, you know, it's a problem if we have to like stand up for ourselves. We are standing up for ourselves because the world just think that it's okay to just bully people of color. Unless we're like in the area where we're from and stuff, then it's like, other than that, it's like, you know, ain't nobody gonna care because you're home. But it's like if we find home somewhere else and then we're getting bullied simply for the color of our skin, or we're getting killed, chased, beaten, all these other different things, and we're supposed to be like okay with that. How are we supposed to be okay with that? How are we supposed to live with that? How are we supposed to live with the fact that we could be in the comfort of our own home, relaxing, and then we could get pulled out, beaten within the inch of our lives just because of the color of our skin? Or if a cop feels like his life is in danger, he needs to shoot at us 100 times. No weapons on us. No. The one situation with the cop, she went into the dude's apartment instead of her own apartment, and she wrongfully shot and killed them. Didn't even bother to look around. Didn't even bother to, like, you know, and that type of stuff, we're supposed to be okay with it. All of the excuses, my thing is like, you guys come up with literally all of the excuses for these cops when they go and wrongfully kill somebody. But when it's us, like, no excuses. You shouldn't be out there being black. You shouldn't be out there doing, you know, just living life. You shouldn't be in the comfort of your own home asleep. No, you overall just shouldn't be alive, pretty much. Like, and people just think that it's like we're supposed to be okay with everything. So I'm like, I'm not overall gonna be okay with it. And you know, that's why I've been saying, it's like justice today has been served. But overall, it's like, you know, this ain't gonna probably be the last situation, which is sad. You know, we like, one can be hopeful and one can hope and pray for the best that it overall ends. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's, you know, stuff like this. It's like, you know, you're gonna still have people. There's somebody that was like trying to, like, I don't even, you know, I don't know if that person overall responded to my comment, but they were like trying to argue with me about this George Floyd situation. I'm like, nah. I'm not hearing it. You know, it's like, or they said like they wanted me to stop bringing it up. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop bringing this up. I'm a man of color. I'm like, I'm never gonna stop bringing this stuff up because it's constantly gonna be happening to people. Stuff's been happening since like I can ever remember. You know, it seemed like it really started going crazy like in not last year, but when I was in high school. I mean, yeah, of course it was going crazy last year, but it seemed like this stuff was started really going crazy when I was in high school. You know, the Trayvon Martin situation, kid just walking home and he gets, you know, followed and he goes to defend himself and he gets shot and killed. That's okay. That's okay for a teenager to get taken away from their family because somebody felt like that their lives was in danger. Comfort of the thing was, it's like about that situation, dude, like Trayvon Martin wasn't even like, you know, fooling with dude. He was just walking home. And he got followed by that George Zimmerman guy, and it's like, bruh, we supposed to, and then on top of that, it's like George Zimmerman was like found not guilty because Trayvon Martin, you know, I guess defending himself. So it was like he had like my thing is like yeah Trayvon I guess he overall did some damage to George Zimmerman. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't enough. Like it wasn't a whole lot. Like what, a couple of scratches and that's it. Man got a whole like bullet going through his body and got killed. And that's supposed to like that cancels out the fact that it's like a teenager was wrongfully killed. My thing is like anybody that went against that situation where they overall thought like oh it's okay what happened to Trayvon Martin, knowing if that was their kid. And I ain't trying to hear no crap where it's like, well, I don't want kids, so I ain't gotta worry about that. But I feel like no, I ain't okay. The only way that I would listen to you is if you put yourself in a situation when you have kids and your kids outside minding their own business and somebody thinks my life is in danger and they put like 4 or 5 bullets in your kid. How would that make you feel? And you supposed to like no, you supposed to be okay with that. You're supposed to be like the same energy that you have with George Floyd, or not? Yeah, with George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, freaking like all of the names, literally all of the names from when I was like in high school all the way up until what, like a few days ago when Dante Wright was wrongfully shot and killed. All of those names. You're the same energy that you have. I want you to have that same energy if this stuff ever happens to you. Same energy. And that's what that one dude, what's that guy's name? Is it Shannon Sharp? I think that's the guy that made that where it was a video that got, yep, Shannon Sharp. It's like he went on to say that, if you have any like black friends that you care for, or if it's like if you're overall arguing with your black friends over what's going on in the world right now, you don't have black friends, you just know black people. Like, live with that. My thing is like, if any of my friends want to argue with me over this, am I really your friend? Just answer that question. Because if I am, then you'll understand how I feel. But if you're going to argue with me and try to make me see things from your point of view, that's no. There shouldn't be no friend trying to argue with me about how I got to live for the rest of my life. I'm saying, like, it's overall crazy how people are carrying on when I'm in this situation, but can't really say or do a whole lot to those that are thinking like that. So anyways, yeah, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for listening to I don't know, whatever you want to consider this as, but yeah, thank you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.